Hello everyone, Jacques here from Dapper Shaves. Gigi, wat my liefie? So guys, I've been asked, you want to sharpen your own razors, what should you get? This is what you need. Okay, now I'm just lying. That's not what you need to own razors. Some people will make you believe that that's what you require, but that's not true. It's a big mess here. Only a quarter of the stuff we displayed is on there, but that's not the point. The point is, what do you get to sharpen razors? I get this question from guys that got razors, but they don't maintain them, so they want to start maintaining them. So my response is always, well, you've got to do a little bit of your own homework to understand a couple of things, but if you've got razors that's already sharp, all you need is something to maintain that sharp edge beyond a strap every now and again. So for me, my finishing stones originally when I started, and they sometimes still are because I love the edges, coticule, natural stone. I've got many of them. I'm not gonna talk hopefully too much about them, and it's stones you'll typically see out in the wild at markets, or from woodworking folk, because coticule was also a very good a tool, not just for razors, but for finishing other sharp tools and so forth. You also get synthetic stones and you get diamond plates, and we'll dive into them. Here's another natural stone, thuringian. We're not gonna look at that. This is a jasper. It's one I haven't had quite long, but I want to maybe talk about him. Here's a synthetic stone. It's a ice bear F4. So the first bit of advice is go and understand what is your preference. Okay, what is it you would like to use to hone? If you don't, maybe I'll clear up a couple of things, but a lot of people are adamant, I want to go natural stones or I want to use synthetics, whatever, and we're going to cover them, and there's no right or wrong with these things. And there's also costs to consider and availability and many other things. So my finishing medium for straight razors is a black Arkansas. Not any black Arkansas, Dan's black Arkansas. I don't want to get into the details for that. That's a personal choice, but not just that. In my opinion, this is the stone to have. They are very slow, but they put a very good edge on the razor. They're also very hard, so they don't require a lot of maintenance. And that's the other thing we need to talk about. So as an example, a coticule, if you're going to set a bevel on this, halfway through you will have to lap the stone flat again. And before you start finishing, again, you will have to lap it because it's soft, but it cuts quick. The same would hold true for a Japanese natural stone. This is a Iwatani. Also, this is a hard stone. They rate it at 4.5. It's quite hard, but it's not nowhere near Arkansas hard because it's different types of stones. But the thing is, you need to lap it quite regularly. I spoke about the jasper. I got this stone because it's fundamentally also very hard, and I'm looking for stones that has got the least amount of maintenance required. I don't want to, if I want to hone, I want to hone. I don't want to, if it is it flat, do I need to lap it, and so forth. I just want to enjoy the experience and put the best possible edge on there. So this jasper is actually got a nice high specific gravity. Not that that's important, but it is quite abrasive or porous, if I can put it that way. So this is not a great stone for straight razors, even though I finished straight razors on them. Because if this is lap smooth, you're not going to have an issue. And I did a Japanese Nagura progression on this, and I shaved very nicely off the edge. I use this in the kitchen to maintain some of the kitchen knives because I don't need to worry about lapping it. The one side smooth, the other side coarse. So that's the other thing. The way you finish the surface of the stone will also help change the characteristics of the stone about how quick, how fast it cuts within its personality. You get synthetic stones. This is, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, carborundum. I don't know, it's these old synthetic stones, abrasive on the one side, smooth on the other side. You can use these things in different grit sizes, and we'll get to grit sizes and what to select and how to get there in a moment if you stay patient, because it's a massive topic and I want to get through as much as information through without confusing the matter and hopefully clearing up a couple of misconceptions. So I'm moving a lot of the stones out of the way. Slate, same thing, something you can use. This is a diamond plate. You get them in various grits, and these days you can also get them quite fine. We'll speak about this in particular. Here's when I started honing, and maybe this is a good point to start talking about grits, is it? So this is a soaking stone, synthetic. This is my first stone I got. I used this as a bevel setter because it's 1200 grit. Okay. So this stone you need to put in water. This one at least half an hour before you can start using it. So that's one downside. The other thing is you need to lap it quite a lot. You'll see this side. I hope you can. Let me stand up. You'll see this edge is quite straight. This one, I'm quite sure you will quickly see, as you can see, that this thing is definitely not straight. I've done scissors and stuff on the back end of this. But this is 1000 grit, so this is what they'll fundamentally call a bevel setter. So people will tell you you need a progression of stones and in various grits. And they do different work. So for me, the easiest way to explain grit is maybe to use a cheese grater. You get coarse and you get finer and you get fine. So when you grate cheese with a coarse side, there's gonna be deep gashes in the cheese. And exactly for a razor. So if you've got a very coarse stone, lief jy wil jy afklim van die stoel, of wil jy in die son sit? Jy kan afklim, op jy aftel. So if you've got that very deep scratches in the steel, it's going to be a rough edge first of all. And secondly, it's going to shave horrible. So you need to reduce those things until you've got a very smooth surface, and then you start polishing those two surfaces, and that's what makes a great edge. Now you can do that with a natural stone, a synthetic stone, it really doesn't matter. So I typically use let's say 1000 grit, we start there, that's to set the bevel, and then you would go up the range to 3000, 5000, and that's the typical recommendation you see out there, and they'll go 8000, 12,000, 20,000, and you sit with a bunch of stones. And in my view, that's unnecessary. If you want to go that route, you can do that. If you've got the money to buy all those stones, But there are easier and cheaper ways of doing exactly the same thing and maybe even better. So I'm going to move this out the way. Here's another example of a synthetic stone, also king. This is the gold stone. This is the 8000 grit. So this is a medium type of stone, intermediate type of work. I don't use it often. That's fundamentally to do knives. So Jacques, slowly a lot of your stones have on the stables moved away. So this is also a coticle out the way. I'm going to move this out the way. Here's another stone, also Arkansas. It can also be used. I don't prefer this because of coarseness, so I use this for all kinds of other tools. So for me, I set a bevel on a coticle. And the reason for that is a coticle is a all-in-one stone. You can make a coticle cut like a 1000K stone using a lot of slurry, and we'll talk about slurry briefly. But slurry is only holds true. Maybe that's not the right word to do, but slurry works better with natural stones than with some synthetic stones, because their design's different, they work differently, especially coticles. So if you want to go synthetics or natural stones and you want to go and buy a bunch of them from 1K through to 10K, by all means go and do that. I don't think you need that. In fact, I don't even think you need a coticle, especially if you're setting bevel, because there's other abrasives. So the first one I want to quickly step back, it is the diamond plate. This is a coarse one, so it's a steel plate, so it won't wear. And they put a nickel coating in here with diamonds, and that's what provides the abrasive cutting properties of the plate. And you get them in various grits, like that cheese grater example. So even before that, sandpaper. So basic work for removing chips and stuff, you don't even need a diamond plate. You can use a piece of sandpaper. Put it down on a granite top or a known flat surface like a piece of float glass, wet it, and use it that way to abrade. On this topic, there's another product out. I don't use it. I haven't got examples of it, but people find it very, very good. It is a film, a very thin piece of film, like sandpaper, just a whole lot thinner. It's got some other coatings on, but also fundamentally diamond coating. And they go up fundamentally all the grits all the way to about 20,000K. So you can just on film, these film pieces, do an entire razor, and it's quite a cheap option. So if that sounds like something you want to maybe try, go and Google lapping film. I see how the guys do it. They cut little strips, they put it on a piece of, I don't know, granite top or glass or acrylic, or maybe on the back of this, and you would use a 1000 grit, do the bevel set, take it off, wet it, clean it, put on a 3000 grit, and you would move up the progression until you come to your finishing, which is a high grit level. So that's the other one they use. So irrespective, you at some point in time need to do some kind of maintenance on your stones. Okay, you need to flatten them. So you're either going to have to go and buy a diamond plate, which is, you'll see, is the first thing people tell you, and you still, once again, I for a very long time never had one. Okay, sandpaper, because it's cheap and it's affordable, and I buy as I use. Wet it on a known surface, do your scratch marks. Go and have a look at a video around lapping. You'll see how it's done. But if you're looking at this video, I think those basics you already understand. So back to a coticle. A coticle's nature you can change by the slurry of it. So I can make one stone cut all the way from, let's say, 2K, maybe not 1K, 2K, all the way to 8K and even above. And that is by just changing pressure, the way I dress the surface, the lubricant I use on it, and so forth. That determines that outcome. So for me, a very long time, I worked on this. Excellent, comfortable shave, but if I wanted to do against the grain stuff, and I wasn't really spot on with a good stone, I was struggling. Hence, I got the black arc. So, I did my work on this, went to the black arc finish, and I have excellent shaves. So, I've got two stones to go from needing to remove chips and do a bevel set all the way through to a shave ready straight razor with two stones. Jacques, is this obviously, if I look at your videos, this is not how you finish razor, so not true. Yes, I use Naguras to increase the sharpness of the edges, but if I was very happy with this setup before this arrived. So anybody that spends the time and effort and patience can get a fantastic shave with a setup just like this. What makes this for me a no fuss setup is because you don't really need to worry about the quality of the coticle. Because people will tell you, oh, you're going to struggle to find a coticle that's going to give you a great edge. So that's a bit of nonsense. I've got 6 of them and I get great edges of all of them, but irrespective. So take the quality out of it. Just get a nice looking stone. It will bevel set. Get rid of all the striations in the steel, and then you can go and finish on anything else you want. For that matter, doesn't need to be this. If you want to go back to a 30K synthetic stone, you're welcome to do that or something else. So those are considerations when deciding you want to own razors. So first of all, what's your preference? And then go and look what's available and what's going to work for you. This is silicon carbide. This is a powder. You throw this on a piece of floating glass, and that's the abrasive. You add a little bit of water on it, and you can also lap your stones with it. It's actually a very good way of lapping very hard stones that take a lot of time up, like Arkansas. You can use silicon carbide. So these abrasives is one of the biggest industries in the world because we keep digging and cutting and doing things. So we understand as human species abrasive quite well, and they're across the board. I said I got a steel plate. Why? Because when I travel or go and fix my mom's knives or something like that, I need a versatile thing. So I use a coarse plate also to lap my stones. It's always flat, it's mobile, I can take it with me. I can use it to take chips out of knives. I can use it to take chips out of razors and of straight razors, and so forth. So a lapping plate is a good one. What people tend to forget about these things, they are diamond coated, so you must not use force. When you use force on these plates, the coating comes off and then you lose the abrasive properties. Just let the diamonds do the work. This is one of the stones you never use pressure on, at least for me. And then I've got Japanese Naguras. I've got to talk about them. I'll put the link in there. I don't want to repeat a lot of that in there. I like to keep my videos quite short. But any of these things here has got a specific property to do a specific task at a specific stage during honing. And so you can use any medium. As I say, you can use a synthetic to set a bevel, or you can use a natural to set a bevel. Depends on what you like. And then you can finish it on something totally different. It's all up to you. And that's why it's such a broad topic. A lot of people are doing different things, and I'm absolutely no exception. I don't know of anybody else that does Asano Naguras on a black Arkansas. Those that use my sharpening services will surely attest to how they find them. But at the end of the day, this is what I do, what I prefer, and I get great results with it. So Jock and all these other stones, yes, it's because I play around and experiment to see what is better. And I've really come to a conclusion that you can put a great shaving edge on fundamentally any half good quality stone, especially the natural stones. And when I say good quality, I've got plenty of Belgium coticules, and each and every one I've received, once I've lapped them, worked a bit on them, understood the characteristics, and changed my technique, capable of getting hair popping, comfortable, smooth edges of all straight razors. Carbon steel, stainless steel, and some of the custom guys out there, even the very hard temper stuff, you can put a good edge on it. It's going to take you some time, but it can be done. You don't need to spend money on lots of kit. Understand the process, understand what's available to you and what's your budget. And if you're still unsure, reach out to me, ask a question, send me a message on Instagram private, and I can answer it for you. This is my bridge sink. You don't need to go and buy one. Use stuff you've got lying around the home. I don't even work over a sink anymore because the bulk of my videos are here. I put this underneath this towel of mine. I put the stone on top. I've got my spray bottles. I take my stones and I sit here and I hone. Because you don't need a lot of water to do this activity. Behind me I have got a sink if I quickly need to rinse a stone off, but with a big spray bottle like that I can do it here as well. So don't need fancy stuff. Know or have an idea about what preference you have. Go and do your research and Google a bit, and you need to also do your own little bit of work to get a better understanding of the things that you maybe didn't catch here or need to revisit, and go and get those stones. Start with only a finisher. The worst you can do is, so you've got, maybe should have mentioned this right at the beginning, but you've got a shave ready straight razor and you have buy yourself a finishing stone, doesn't matter what it is. You can only improve the edge, deteriorate it, or maintain it as is. Okay? These stones are finishers. They polish. They don't abrade to any extent, really. Especially the very fine stuff. Imagine trying to polish a dent into a piece of steel. because this is what you're doing. You're polishing. So you're not going to destroy your razor, grind the spine away. That can't happen. So start with the finisher, see if you can maintain an edge, and then when you're there, then you can step down to see what you need. And once again, for me, I've got a diamond plate, a coticle, this, off we go. It's not big money. You set up for a very long time. You've taken a lot of the maintenance out of the work, and so forth. This is a 1.5 inch loop. The 120 Rand on Takealot. It gives about 20 times magnification. It's a great little tool to help you see what's going on without busting the bank either. I think I'm done here. Ask your questions and I'll get back. Thanks, guys.